Hello, hello. What's going on, people? Welcome back to another live video here on this Wednesday evening, I want to say. Wednesday evening. Looking forward to this. We've had some very well-timed news, just a little bit of well-timed news in alignment with all of the things we've been discussing over the last few days to week about midfielders, about United obviously being further in for midfielders and looking at midfielders. And we've even got some names to I guess, confirm. And United are actually, according to some really good sources in South America, on the verge of signing some good young midfielders, apparently. So it seems like we are collecting them. People were asking during the summer because, as I said before and heard, we were supposed to be signing some more like Kone types and some more players like that to come in. And there you go. It looks like we are getting one from Colombia. So we'll talk about all of that this evening. Talk about the midfield. Mostly this will be the midfield show, the midfield discussion. I definitely want to discuss a lot of stuff in depth. I made a video this morning about the midfield, about the partnership, about Casemiro, about my changing ideas about why Casemiro is being selected, which I did not expect to come to that conclusion, but I kind of have. Maybe I'm still wrong, but I guess we'll find out very soon. So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, the Colombian kid looks good. So we'll look at a few things, and then apparently there's another midfielder that is on trial with us, according to some reports. I don't get a ton because I don't ask for a ton on players who are obviously not adults yet, and I'm not gonna ask too much about it. But I'm somewhat reliant on these reports that are out there. But I think they're good. Hello, Soundtrack Me, Naveen, Darth, Eunice, Kaz, Ridwan, Simon. Very good to see you all today. You got to stop arguing. I'm not going to lie, John. I have no idea. I've just found it kind of funny because he's really lost it today. I'll be honest and say I have no idea what the discussion is even about anymore. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. I'm completely lost, but I was keeping it going because it was kind of giving me ideas, about it was kind of giving me ideas about videos to make. I mean, for example, yesterday I made a video on stats mostly because I realized that there are people like that account who don't understand math and are spreading totally false bullshit with a complete misunderstanding of probabilities. So I did a whole dive into stats and their values and all of that kind of stuff. And it was actually a really good video in the end. And I discovered quite a lot. So it's not even about the difference in opinion. It's just, I was finding it amusing pushing back against what is a gross misunderstanding of mathematics. And, I woke up in the middle. It's actually really funny because I was thinking about this, this statement that a lot of low chances is worse than a fewer number of higher chances when the gap isn't that big. And I was thinking at first, yeah, of course, logically that kind of makes sense. And then I literally woke up at 5 a.m. and I was like, wait a second. I'm good with math. That's not true. That's not true. For the numbers in terms of to be different, the low versus high quality have to vary dramatically. They can't be like 2 or 3% apart. They have to be like significantly apart for them to matter. And this idea that, and then it got me thinking, you know what? Low quality chances in football don't actually exist for the most part. They do, by the way. But in terms of the span of a whole season, there's very little evidence actually of this thing about, well, one team created low quality chances, one team created high quality chances. It's kind of not true. It really comes down to the totals at the end of the day more than anything. But regardless, that gave me this whole video to dive into stats, to find them, look into everything, which in turn, by the way, gave me this whole idea about exactly what was wrong with the midfield at this point in time and like what was not working and why we were conceding so many goals, because I was looking at and going, yeah, we're kind of bad at defending, which is how I made this morning's video. So I've gotten like a good 2.5 hours of 2 hours of video and a whole bunch of fun from this discussion. I have been watching or keeping an eye on the Elliot Anderson performance over there at Forest. I really like him, but I'm still not convinced that he's a 6, but he might be. And I want to talk about that today, and that'll probably be where we start today as we get into it. So let me just send a tweet out there as we get going. Please do make sure to drop a like on the video. Rage baiting into videos is elite. I'm not really doing it on purpose. I was actually approaching it with an honest kind of discussion, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, is this what most people think? Because I can see why the atmosphere gets so negative when so many people have a genuine, when there's so much misinformation being put out there. I think people can form their own conclusions if they are presented, with factual information, let's say, and an understanding of factual information too, which is why I wanted to define what stats actually mean, you know, like, because you'll see funny things like a quote the other day from that manager, or was it this morning, like, XG is bullshit, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's not. It's not bullshit, actually. It's really simple if you understand it. When someone says something like that, it just means they don't understand it. That's all. It's the easiest way to, like, pass something off is just to say it's bullshit. You just have to win games. Like, yeah, no shit. That's what we're trying to do here. How many times did you get a chance to win the game is really what XG is telling you. But I think that if you give people real information, real definitions, and the ability to understand things, that most people will come out of it being able to form their own opinion. And then if they agree with me or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's all good, man. The opinions or whatever. But I did realize that there were just too much, like, where the premise, the information, the thing itself was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that bothers me. It's not the difference in opinion. It's when people say things that are totally false and give people the wrong understanding of things that I don't like. Right? Then it's stupid. So like when somebody goes into this big long thing and tells people that a lot of chances at 10% is a lot worse than a lot of chances at 12%, that's actually bullshit. It's not even remotely true. It's completely incorrect. In fact, it's totally false, and will have people thinking and looking into stats that don't matter when they don't need to look into those stats, and they don't need to be wasting their time doing that and trying to split hairs. It gets crazy. It gets crazy. And that's the reason, actually, I dove into all of that. It's not that somebody thinks we're bad, somebody thinks we're good. Plenty of people I know and like think we're not very good right now, and that's cool. That's cool. I'll explain in a second. It's not about that. It's, for me, the person I was discussing it with is never going to agree with me. It doesn't matter. But I like to educate people. You know what I'm saying? I like to educate people on the truth, and then they can decide for themselves. No, I never want another 6 again. I don't care about calling out specific accounts or things like that either. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it gave me essentially ideas. One sec, sorry. It just gave me ideas for what people don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like that's actually what I gained about it. And it's not on Twitter. I can't educate people on Twitter. But people who come here know that my content is like 90% long form, strong, in-depth, long-ass, overblown explanations. You know that's what I'm here for. I just go on and on and on And I think people watch it because they enjoy it and maybe they learn something from it, and I'm happy with that. You know, I don't care what other people think, but if you come in here and you want to listen to me, then I like to educate. That's all. All right, let me send a tweet and let's get into the midfield discussion. We'll talk about the young Colombian defensive midfielder. I found out a lot about him. Found out a lot. In the last 20 minutes, I haven't. But 1 second. All right, send this little tweet out and let's get right into it. Okay, let's get into it. So, yes, let's start here first and foremost with this story that comes to us from Mr. Mike McGrath. Now, I need to remind you all that when Mike McGrath speaks, it's very important to listen. Mike McGrath was first on Brian Mbeumo, and he was first on Senna Lamans, okay? Very important to listen when he writes pieces. He doesn't just do it for fun. He is a very, very good journalist. You know what I mean? And he gets good stuff. Now, we knew United were going to be going for a number 6, so it's not like 100% new news or something like that we're not aware of, but I do think that the names that are on the list and the names that are mentioned here are ones that we also have on our list of like 8 names at this point in time, but are worth latching onto and looking into more and more. So, given that, I'm sorry, my wife was just sending me something. Getting distracted. Can't ignore my wife. It's against the rules. So the 3 names that he mentioned in here were Baleba, Wharton, and Elliot Anderson. And as I've been saying for some time, there is going to be a big race for these midfielders in the coming January and summer. Yesterday we saw some things. I know it's from Indy Kyla, but I've told you before. I told you before that they were interested in Baleba. They were interested in in all of that. And that these other clubs are going to be in for defensive midfielders. That's what is certainly on the table right now, is going for these defensive midfielders. And there's going to be a lot of competition, and we need to get on top of it. Now, the question becomes that I want to kind of debate with you guys, because I've gone back and forth on this about 1,000 times myself, okay? Who the hell is the right signing for us? Who the hell is the right number 6 for Manchester United to bring in? Now, what's clear to me is that we really do want a Premier League proven player in this position. We do want someone who can slot right in. I think we're really happy with Cunha, with Mbeumo, with these guys as they've come into play, and that we can get them playing right away. All of that, you know. So it's obvious that. Now, Baleba continues to be, as I understand it, certainly at the top of the list. But considering where we're at and where he's at, that price really does, frankly, need to come down. It's a bit ridiculous at this point in time. Like, he is a really good young player, but as we've seen with the difficulties he's having this season, he's a young player. He needs time to grow. He needs time to improve. There's still a lot of room to run. He is not the finished product as of yet, prone to those ups and downs, consistency, things like that you need. And I'm not saying that he's bad or anything, or that he's not going to have a good season, but these players are not done, okay? Now, this morning, when I made the video on the midfield and on Casemiro and on all of that, we've talked about this before, about the 6-8 kind of hybridization role here, where you want your 8, just to be very clear on this, you want your 8, wrong button, you want your 8 to be a like Bruno is now, contributing to the attack, almost like a player who is getting into natural 10 positions when you're a more dominant side, okay? That you get a player who, you want a player who's going to get forward, who's going to get in the box, who's going to crash the box, who's going to make those extra runs, those overloads, similar to how Bruno scored against Chelsea. We were allowed to be a little more dominant at times because of the extra man, but he was getting into a lot of the positions you'd want him in. He is still this season, to be fair, getting a lot of touches in the final third. So you want more of an attacker there. You don't want to lose the attacking. Why we've gone with Casemiro and Bruno instead of Casemiro and Ugarte again is because we struggle to score goals. And Ugarte doesn't actually offer us enough in the attack, obviously. We do know that, right? So the 8 is more of your, I would say, your attacking, pressing, box to box. It can be a hard-working defensive player who runs around pressing in the profile of Ugarte. Probably fits someone like Elliot Anderson for sure, but they do need to be able to add to the attack. This can be, in the future, Kobbie Mainoo, in my opinion, to back up Bruno Fernandes. So we're definitely looking at defensive midfielders and the 6. What we want out of that position, what we want out of that 6 is, it kind of depends. We need a little more of a sitter because Bruno's not great off the ball, but Kobbie Mainoo's not particularly athletic in terms of getting around and ground covering off the ball either. And even Ugarte, it works better with a sitter behind him. So yeah, I think we kind of need someone who can sit a little bit more. And so the question becomes, what are the traits we're actually looking for, right? The other thing that I think is important is they actually have to be good in the air. And that worries me a little bit for Elliot Anderson. So think with for a moment, at least stylistically, think with for a moment who partners Bruno. Like today, who would partner Bruno? Because that'll be first. Who's going to partner Bruno right now? That's the first question. Because even if it goes to Kobbie Mainoo afterwards, they're not dissimilar in terms of not being the strongest off-ball players in terms of, for different reasons, mind you. But who's the best partner? They've got to be good in the air. They've got to be able to sit. You don't necessarily want them getting forward altogether too much. They've got to be more of a high percentage ball-winning player. Ideally, it seems like they'd be able to pass the ball around a little bit. I'm asking of the names we're actually linked to, by the way, who's the right player. So I looked at a couple of stats to try to figure out, like, this season so far, who's doing the business, okay? And what I was trying to look at is, like, aerial duels won percentage, possessions won per 90, but then also the size of the dot being the defensive duels won percentage, because you need somebody who wins a high number. They can't be getting bypassed too much. Elliot Anderson and Baleba look good. Wharton, he's been bad in the air. I don't know if that's just this start of the season or whatever, you know what I mean? But certainly Baleba and Anderson both kind of fit the bill. I think if you're looking in this area, it's pretty good. They need to be good in the air. That's really, really important to me. They can be middle of the ground for possessions won per 90, but Gravenberch is perfect. Like that's the truth of it, right? We all know that, right? And I kind of tend to base a lot of my stats off of Gravenberch because if I look at the ideal player, he's a high percentage, high efficiency ball winner. He's decent in the air and he wins a lot of duels. So I don't know, honestly, at this point, who the right player is. If we head on over to Ligue 1, where is he? I don't see Buwadi on here. Why do I not see Buwadi on here? Has he not played or something? Has he not played enough this season? Oh, no, there he is. What am I saying? His aerial duels right now this season is absolutely horrific, by the way, but we'll see if that levels out over the course of the season. But don't underrate being good in the air mattering here, okay? Don't underrate it. I think it would be dangerous to underrate it. that being good in the air is important in this position, because none of our other midfielders are good in the air. You do need to be good in the air as well. So I don't know. Baleba, I still think is the right call. I think for the 6, Baleba's the right call. If you want to move on in the future to like someone who's maybe like a bit more progressive and like, you know, all of that, well, then you're talking about Elliot Anderson, right? Because Elliot Anderson, I think, makes a bit more of it makes for a bit more of an attacking 8. But for the 6, I think the answer is still Baleba for me. I think it's still Baleba. I can't kind of get past that. Like, let's see, possessions 1 lost per 90, right? Yarmouk, he's not been great in the air, but maybe we'll see if that fixes over the course of the season. This guy from Everton, who I can't pronounce, has been pretty good so far, hasn't he? I still think it's Baleba. Or Ugochukwu. Ugochukwu would be nice to get as a young player too, by the way. I still think he'd be a good addition. But I still think it's Baleba. I think Anderson makes more of an 8 than a 6, and Baleba makes more of a 6 than an 8. So I think we go for Baleba. I still think that's going to be our number 1 call, and I think that's realistically the right midfielder for us. Let me see if I go under 35. Where is Casemiro showing up on all of this? So he's kind of right around Nico Gonzalez on some of these. I don't think he's been great this season, to be quite honest. Part of it, I actually think Casemiro's been kind of poor this season. Look at the duels 1 percentage and aerial duels 1 percentage. Baleba is really good defensively. He still stands out above the rest. I think he's the guy, but the price needs to come down to a better range, doesn't it? But I still think he's the guy. Like, if I look at the guys who kind of get around here, Paulinho, Gravenberch, Rodri, Baleba's the right guy. I think Baleba's the right guy. I think so. Baleba would be really good. Baleba would be really, really good. Really, really good. For me. Look at Squirts. 150 million for this. Leverkusen Lallana. I like that. It's too funny. But yeah, I think this is the answer for me. My concern with Wharton is there's something about him just throws me. Don't know what it is. Something about him throws me. Florian Wirtz. Yeah, you know who else is a 10? Let's see if any of the other 10s are on here. I don't know if any of the other 10s are on here, to be quite fair, but... I mean, Gibbs White. Reindeers. Mount is over here. Look at Wirtz is all the way down here, man. Honestly, I don't think there's any excuse for Wirtz to be this fucking bad. He has a 0% aerial duel win rate. Holy shit. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Bruno's right here. 0%. Wirtz has lost every single aerial duel. No, I think Wharton is extremely talented. I actually really, really like Adam Wharton. My concern continues to be that I don't feel he brings an intensity in defensive action off the ball. You know what I'm saying? Just something about that. Does he even jump? Yeah, but he's like built out of like toilet paper. Like he's so weak. No, I'm sure he wasn't good in the air. It's just interesting that like, you know, that like, I don't know, man. I don't think you can get away with that in the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? Has Onana not played enough games? Yeah, I don't think he has. Like, as I can't find Ugarte. Like, bear in mind this is this season, right? If we go to last season, shit, is it going to erase all my things? It's going to erase all my matches. If we have to go to last season and look at duels won percentage plus aerials. Let's look at last season because we have a bigger sample size. Oops, that's not it. We have a bigger sample size last season. Onana's really good too, mind you. The problem then Casemiro. Look, Casemiro, this is the right one. This is why he's done this. Yeah. If he was scoring and assisting, then nobody would care. But yeah, he's not doing anything. Like, this is the right measure, you know? And if I look like Baleba's improving off of last year already in this case. Anderson's in the same spot as Baleba. Wharton's kind of down here. So, you know, I think there's 3 good young players, but I think these 2 are my guys right here. But I think that they're different. I think Baleba's the right guy. I really do. Gravenberg, you know, this is the right area to measure where we're looking for, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it's Baleba, and I think we'll end up going for Baleba. When I look at Elliot Anderson, he's just a little too attacking for me for the 6. Because like I was kind of pointing out the other day, this morning video, that 6 needs to sit. You know what I mean? That 6 does need to sit and protect. He's also 5'9". I don't think we can have a 5'9" 6. Guys, imagine if we have Cobby and Anderson in the mid. We can't. I'm sorry, size matters in this position. There are positions that I don't care if they're tall. We can't be small Chester United anymore. We need to be big Chester United. Look at the size of the guys in City, Arsenal's, and Liverpool's midfield. Look at the size of those guys, dude. They're huge. We can't be small Chester. We cannot. It's not going to work. He might be slightly taller, but he's definitely not big. He's definitely not a big guy. Baleba is not that tall either, but he's a little taller if I'm not mistaken. He's got like a little bit of that hunched run, but he's not that big either. It does concern me a little bit. I think maybe they're still growing, the both of them, but I don't know. We do need bigger players in the midfield. I do worry about that a little bit. Like, how big is Cassie? Casemiro's, he's what, like 6'1"? Yeah. I think Baleba isn't... I don't know, man. The size worries me a little bit. That's where I look at Wharton and I think he is big. He is big. Wharton is definitely tall. Caicedo's not small either, you know. Got some size on him. He's not 5'10". He's definitely a little bigger than that, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see how they look this season. It's just I feel like Baleba plays a bit bigger, but yeah. We're gonna go for 6s. We're gonna go for 6s. Ugochukwu would be great to me. Ugochukwu. I'm still like baffled we didn't go for him because I still think he would have been such a nice, affordable 6'2", strong, good on the ball, good in the tackle, nice player. Nice player. I wish we'd gone for him. I feel my eye test is that Baleba plays bigger and Anderson is like a little more tight. And I'm not saying I don't really like Anderson. I love I think he's looking incredible right now. I think Anderson is looking great at the moment. But I really think he's an 8. I don't think you could sit him next to Bruno. Conte was tiny. Yeah, but he had Matic next to him for the most part. He had Matic next to him for the most part. João Neves. João Neves is a wonderful, amazing player who plays in a 3 and is not in the Premier League. I'm not saying he wouldn't work in the Premier League, but I do think you would need to put a taller player next to him. He also is like, I don't know, João Neves is crazy. He's absolutely exceeded all expectations, physicality. I mean, he makes up for it with some of the most impossible to match work rate I have ever seen. So fair play to him for that. He's really physical for a small player, like one of the most physical small players I've seen, Conte-esque in that respect of how he gets around. He does have taller partners in the midfield with him, but I also think he would need to have a taller player next to him if he were to end up in the Premier League someday. For sure. Like, I wouldn't stick João Neves, even as good as he is, I wouldn't put him in the 6 behind Bruno. I think that'd be a recipe for disaster. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I would have concerns over that personally. Are we going? We're not necessarily only going for one, but I think our priority is the 6. Our priority is the 6. Like, if we're gonna get one in January, it'll be the 6. They're slightly taller. Give me one sec, guys. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Conte was smaller than yeah, but I'm saying he had Matic. Look at who was in the midfield with him at Chelsea. You know, let's poll it while we're here. Let's poll it. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. If anybody's mind has changed as of yet. In our 6, I'm looking at based on what I saw this morning, and when I was analyzing the data, which is that we do need a bit of a sitter. We do need a bit of a sitter. In that position, a taller, well, good in the air, good sitter, and all of that. Who's the right 6? I think we're going to end up with 2 or 3 midfielders in the end, and I'll explain that in a second. With besides Drinkwater, I know, but I don't know if we can learn much from that Leicester season. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we learn much from that Leicester season? Who's the right guy for you of these 3? Forget the height for a second. The fact of the matter is, I think Anderson plays more like a box to box. I think he could be exceptional in that role. Okay, this is a very easy vote. This seems like everybody's convinced, so I don't need to make much of an argument. Everybody seems to be on mostly the same page here. On who we should get in the 6. I agree. I think Baleba is still the best option, personally. I think we can do it all. I think he can do it all, is the other thing with Baleba, you know? Like, if we eventually played a 3 or we end up with a different midfield or something like that, you're still, Baleba's can do whatever, you know? And if you know, anything. It's the 8 that's more contentious. So all right. So you guys think Baleba. So here's the other piece of information. You know, and I know, and I've been telling you that we're gonna go for a 6 for sure, and we could go in as soon as January to try and get a number 6 coming in to United. We know it's a priority. The reason we play Casemiro with Bruno is he's the best balanced player to sit behind Bruno. Essentially, we're saying we have to, you know, sacrifice a little bit offensively, defensively to get the offense that we need out of the team, and it's working in essence. We are creating a shitloads of chances. So the plan is working. We need that 6 to improve, to give a partner to Bruno, a partner to Kobe, and all of that. That being said, there are 2 further scenarios that are potential here. Number 1 is that Bruno and or Kobe Mainoo could leave next summer. There's a world where they both leave. At the moment, United are not getting close to getting any type of extension on Kobe Mainoo, of course, because he's going to want some future in showing up here. Now, again, I would reiterate that the ideal plan for them is to have him come in, take over from Bruno in the future and things like that. But and I'm not saying he's not working hard on it or anything either, but obviously I don't think he's going to sign an extension without seeing, evidence of this plan moving forward here and playing. At the same time, United are caught in a little bit of a rock and a hard place here, which is to say you're sitting behind Bruno Fernandes. So, I'm just raising the scenario that there's a good potential chance. Like, if Bruno stays, Kabi probably leaves, right? I mean, that's probably the case next summer. Given his position that he took this summer, if Bruno ends up staying longer, then he probably leaves. Now, a caveat to that is, what if we're really good by the end of the season? Can Kabi accept a rotational role if we're really good and we're in like 4 competitions again next year and we're in Europe and there's going to be lots of games to go around and all sorts of stuff, and he gets more games as the season goes on either way? That remains to be seen. But let's say that we need to get 1 or 2 midfielders in addition next summer, then they're likely going to be an 8. In those positions, I think Elliot Anderson is the main target that we're going to try to bring in, or one that obviously we're definitely looking at. I wouldn't say today is the main target. It's way too early to say that. But then I think someone like Elliot Anderson would be considered strongly in that position. So there is an idea to overhaul the midfield, potentially 2, potentially 3 midfielders. And in addition to that, of course, is the idea that even if Casemiro goes and we get another 6 who can play, maybe we need some more young options. Now, I told you before summer and through summer that we were very likely to get a few more of these like kind of fringe young signings like Kone and all of that, but they kind of took a while to happen. But today, it appears that we are closing in or have agreed to sign, similar in a way to Diego Leon, this young number 6 Colombian defensive midfielder known as Christian Orozco. Orozco? I want to say that I'm saying that almost right. I don't know anything about him. You don't either. He looks big. He looks quite big. He definitely looks like a 6. There's this little bit here. There's a video here you can kind of watch. I don't want to play it because I don't want to get accidentally copyrighted or anything like that, although it seems like this is surviving the copyrights or anything. But if you've watched him, I watched this video. I like what I see. He's definitely Orozco. He's definitely a sitter. Orozco, yeah. Definitely a sitter. Definitely a 6. Definitely kind of like cleans up in front of the back line. He looks competent on the ball. He looks strong. He looks big. He looks like the right guy. Now, he's young. I don't want to make any assumptions in terms of like, I don't want to make like assumptions of like, oh yeah, he's going to be great and hype up a player that's never even joined, that's playing in Colombia at the moment as a young player, but he looks good. He looks very good on the ball. And so, I like the idea between him, between Kone. We might have a couple more players where maybe one of them can break into that backup 6 role next year, or by end of this year, perhaps, and can become something in the team. It's good to have those kind of breakthroughs. Maybe he'll go out on loan. Maybe he won't. We'll see. We will depend on things. Sekou Kone needs to get back healthy from his injury, play a bit more at the under-21s level, and then we'll see what happens there. I don't know if he's not back, no. So, yeah, but I like that we're obviously doing this thing. This is what was missing before, right? When you look at United, this top-to-bottom alignment in terms of recruitment, like, guys, the club lacks deep midfielders. The club lacks them. The club lacks deep midfielders. It has for some time. The deep midfielders we have in the academy right now are like
hey,
very
buddy,
small.
Sorry not being here in a while.
That's
been
okay,
busy.
Stuart. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Thank you for resubscribing 14 months and all that. No worries. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. But, we've been looking at, we've got, we lack deep midfielders. We have at United for like 10 years. What's encouraging for me to see is that when we're going out to sign and we're looking at senior midfielders, we're also looking at young midfielders. And then there's this trial player from Africa, who was also a 6. Look at that, Hamza. You got the first gift today. Oh, I recognize a lot of these names. Alwyn, Zombie. Oh my God. I know all of you. What a great gift. Thank you, Stuart. Appreciate you very much, my friend. Thank you for the gifted subs, as always, for supporting the channel. That is really brilliant. Thank you so much. Wow, I recognize like almost all these names. A lot of the guys who got those gifts, Stuart, are like guys who've been around a long time. So a great gift. Great job with your random gifting today. I appreciate that. But yeah, this looks like the right thing. A lot of the deep midfielders that we have in the academy are really small. Like, I really like Jimmy Thwaites. He's tiny. He's tiny. We need some we need some more slightly bigger midfielders, but we have not had a lot of deep midfielders for a while at the club, and it's been a problem. I mean, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've not had this treadmill of midfielders coming through, even at the academy levels, for a long time, for a long time. A lot of them have, and some of them are in the Patreon and have given me plenty of money over the years. So it's cool anyway. But yeah, so I like our strategy here of saying, hey, we're going to rebuild the midfield, not just at the senior level, but add to the youth ranks as well. Add to the youth ranks as well. And just get more options. And I think this is where they've done an excellent job. And I think over the next 1 to 2 years, we'll start to see more of this. You know what I mean? Like, we'll start to see this kind of pay off for us in the future, right? We'll start to see more of these players come through. McTominay, I know, and he came through as a center back, though, didn't he, originally? Like, McTominay was still misprofiled. He was never a deep midfielder, and we played him as a deep midfielder. And if we deployed him as an attacker, like a 10, we might have been really, really different. But I don't know. Regardless, it's good to see this. It's good to see this is happening. And again, I think that in the long run, over the next couple of years, it's going to seriously pay off for us. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be really, really great. I think Jose saw him as a center back is what I meant. Didn't Jose bring McTominay in as a center back in his first game or some shit like that? I can't remember this stuff. They all blend together. I know he played striker when he was very young. What I'm saying is that I swear Jose saw him as like a deep defender, and that's, yeah, like, he's just a footballer. He's just a big physical guy, and we could have deployed him in different ways, and I probably would have felt a lot better about him because he had this huge growth spurt. Yeah, so but yeah, we're rebuilding the midfield, and we need it, and it was very appropriate when I looked at the video this morning, because the fact of the matter is, guys, we have a team. We have a serious team that we're putting together, and United are good. Fuck the hate. Fuck the doubters. This is why I can't lose when I get into certain debates. All right, because I'll tell you why. Ready? I'm just a fan. I sit here, talk to you guys every single day. I give information on those things. I gotta be good. When I give you my analysis, my opinions, my viewpoints, my perspectives on things, I'm just a fan. I want this team to win. I want this team to be good. I want this team to be excellent. I choose to look at things from a positive angle. I can't lose. Because if United lose, I'm unhappy too. And then I'm going to be with everybody in the crowd saying, hey guys, we're shit. We need to make changes. It's whatever, man. I choose to look at things I choose to look at things positively. But the fact is, United are good. United are good. That's the truth. United actually are producing a lot. United are producing exceptionally well in terms of their attacking way. But defensively, we are kind of crap, and we're giving up these big chances. And we need to fix the midfield to do that. We need to fix the midfield to do that. It's not going to fix without a 6. Ooh, I like that. It's not going to fix without a 6, okay? If we changed Bruno out, it would help, but we would lose some of what he's bringing offensively. If we improve the center backs, it'll help a little, but it's not going to fix everything. we must get the balance right in the midfield to fix our defense, because there was really interesting too. I don't know if you saw it from this morning video, but it was everything like aligned, everything aligned in all of this. And it all came together and worked out. Oh my God, I almost hit the wrong button. It all worked out really, really well, because this morning, The Athletic also put out a piece showing block shots. Did any of you see this? I'm going to pull that up because I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really cool because it was a really cool explanation of why we're bad. At the same time, it aligned perfectly with what I was saying. So when I analyzed the stats the other day, I was saying that when we give up goals, it's usually huge chances. Like, we give up big chances. Someone is totally free in the box, or the keeper makes a mistake. Okay. That's the reason. Okay. And if you look at this thing that The Athletic shared, they're showing you that under Amorim, we really dropped off in our blocking shots. Now, a big part of the reason that we are bad at blocking shots under Amorim is because we've stopped playing in a deep block. That's actually the truth, by the way. We were playing really deep for the counters under Ten Hag when we were conceding 17, 18 shots per game. So we had more men behind the ball. And so we blocked more shots. Now we actually have, on average, fewer men behind the ball, despite the dialogue around the back five. And it's also because usually the shots are happening because of corners, where it's going straight in on set pieces and crosses. And secondly, because our midfielders are not tracking runners into the box, specifically Bruno. But when it's not Casemiro, he's not covering that. And we can see that here. We're not blocking shots. And so it's resulting in us giving up big chances too many times. So it's really interesting. All of this aligned with the video I was making this morning that I put out to show, like, hey, shit, this is why we're bad. We need a better midfielder. Where was I going with this? I don't particularly remember. But this is what we've got to fix. And if we can do this, United will be really, really good. Because the positive is, I like I say, I always choose to see the positives in this, right? When I look at United, this is how I see it. Offensively, not only are we creating a lot of chances and not finishing them, but forget that for a second. We're messing up not creating good chances, but the signs are all there. We can put it together. Defensively, where we are bad, we're bad in very obvious ways. It's not actually systemic. We're not getting run through. I've said this before. I'll say it again. And every time I rewatch games, we are not getting run through. What's happening is we are limiting teams to extremely low number of chances that they're getting on us. We are controlling the ball. We are keeping it out wide. One of the critiques that people have of the system, which again, if you watch Sporting, you would know this is how Amorim plays football. He lets you run in the wide area. So people say, oh, we retreat too quickly, and then they're able to pass the ball in the wide areas. Yes, that's a feature, not a bug. It's a feature, not a bug. It's kind of like Jose used to say, and again, he's a bit of a Jose guy. Jose used to say you can control the game without the ball. Keep the ball where you want it. So Amorim's whole philosophy was block the middle, keep the ball off to the side. That's Amorim's philosophy. That's how he plays football. And that's why we limit a lot of shots, because we're not actually getting run through the middle. The ball is easily getting over to the sides, and that's, again, feature, not a bug. You could see that against Chelsea. Yes, it ended up at Reece James, which results in a goal, but for the majority of that half, we were fine with them having the ball out wide, and they could create nothing on us, correct? That is part of the way that it works. You can't score from the wings. You have to get the ball in the box. The two problems we have are our keeper stinks. So when the ball does come in from the wide areas, they don't come and knock it away. Secondly, is that when we don't have Casemiro, we lose a little bit of that guy tracking the run in the middle, the extra man from the midfield. But these are fixable problems. One, we could just play Casemiro. Two, we can just hopefully try and convince Ugarte or somebody to be more of a sitter. Three, we can change the goalkeeper. Four, we can go buy a good defensive midfielder in January, and we can solve this problem. These are solvable problems. But the truth is that we can cut the chances we're conceding in half, like overnight if we want to. We can cut it in half. Even Foden's goal is not a run through. Okay, like you're right in a respect. Okay. They kind of get through in terms of the buildup, but then the ball still stagnates out wide. We retreat, we get behind the ball. They have it out wide with Bernardo Silva. They recycle it back to the center back. Fine, they've gained territory, but the ball is still wide. The City goal happens because Luke Shaw gets absolutely destroyed by Doku, and we lose a runner in the box. At the end of the day, that's what happened, right? Again, I'm saying if you had Casemiro in there, he might have picked up Foden at the top of the box, and we still wouldn't have conceded it. Just saying. It might, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Regardless, we can be really good defensively. We can eliminate a lot of chances. But really, it just came from just getting destroyed on a one-on-one. With Casemiro suspended, I am curious to see how we roll out Bruno and Ugarte again. Now, look, Brentford aren't City, so it's a lot less danger you're going to be dealing with. A little bit more direct, a lot less passing through you in a way that City are going to try to do. So they'll have, but I do want to see, do we change the dynamic or do we go all out on the high press? Because those are two choices. Make Ugarte sit or go all out on a high press with Ugarte and Bruno and don't suffocate them, right? That's the thing. Yeah, I don't want Diomande too to see that, Hamza, in what you're talking about there. Diomande makes a lot of mistakes. He makes so many mistakes at center back. He's a good player, but he is incredibly mistake prone. I don't think we can afford that at this point in time to have a very mistake prone young center back. We already have some young center backs we've got to ease in. I think we need somebody who doesn't make mistakes like him. He makes a lot of mistakes. He is aggressive, he is talented, but he makes too many mistakes for me. So anyway, yeah, I think we can get a lot better. And if you just wanted to know, I was explaining something at the start of the video, and then I actually want to look at wingbacks because I had some interesting ideas here. At the start of the show, I was talking about this silly argument on Twitter, but what was happening is I was reading this stuff and going, hey, maybe I could actually use what I see as false information and claims and things like that to educate and to teach people. Okay. And I was talking about how they're low chances versus high quality chances and things like that. So there was this discussion that somebody was getting into, and they wrote an entire thesis on it, which is all this stuff about why XG isn't true, and this giant thing, and it was all about probabilities, and it was all about additive probabilities, and all about how, well, if your shots have a slightly lower chance to score, then it's not the same as if your shots have a higher percentage chance to score. I explained this in the stats video, but let me try to explain it again in simple terms, okay? If what the claim was is that if you're getting 10 expected goals, but your average is that all your shots have a 10% success rate, 0.1 XG, a 10% success rate, and you're rolling the dice 100 times to get to that 10 expected goals, that it's a lot worse probability-wise than if you were to, say, achieve that 10 expected goals with better chances worth, say, 12 or 13%. Totally false. Completely wrong. In fact, the difference between those two numbers is completely negligible. It only becomes important if you were taking 100 rolls at 10% versus 50 rolls at 20%. If it was a massive gap, okay? Can I draw this on paint? This is basic probabilities. Any of you play FIFA and you open packs? Does any of you do that? I mean, I bet a lot of you. If you have ever opened packs, you know how when they give you probabilities, they'll you've seen probabilities and it's 99% of people will get X at this number, you know, after this many numbers or something like that. Anyway, I'm getting completely lost in everything here. But the point of it is that actually, from a probability standpoint, there's like no difference between your shots if you're taking tons of shots at a 10% success rate versus tons of shot at a 12% success rate. If the total is the same, there's no difference. Okay. And this is what I'm trying to explain to people, and where it set me off in terms of where people are getting false information, because some people are getting the idea based on this. I'll show you the stat in question in case you missed the video or missed the discussion yesterday. One more time, I'm going to show this because I think it's actually basically the most useless stat in football. Okay. It's this right here. All right. I'm going to show it to you. This stat. Expected goals per shot, okay? United are on 11. That means 11%, okay? 11%. When they shoot, on average, they're taking shots that have 11% chance of going in. And the whole discussion was, well, if you add up all of these times doing something 11% and you reach 100, it's not actually 100%. That's totally true. It's actually like 65%. If you do something 9 times at 11%, you have about a 65% chance of succeeding. Does that make sense to anybody? If you don't understand the probabilities, that's actually the truth. If you try to do something 11 times, 11% success rate 9 times, that adds up to like 99%, right? You have about a 65% chance of succeeding, not 99%. I hope people do understand that that is actually true. The problem is if you do it 12 times, or 12, if you do it at a 12% and it adds up to 1, it's the exact same thing. The number changes by like a tiny, tiny bit. I know your head hurts. And the problem is that people it's not important. The point is, it's not important. I can explain the whole math to you, but the problem is that people are going into depth trying to be so smart that they're actually stupid to convince you of something that just isn't even true in the first place and is a basic misunderstanding of mathematics. Okay. There's a negligible difference between all these scenarios, but the intention is to confuse you because there's 2 sayings. Okay, there's 2 sayings. And if my dad ever sees this video, which there's a chance he would at some point, he'll enjoy me saying this because he used to say it. But you can dazzle them with your brilliance, or you can baffle them with your bullshit. Okay? And some people go the route of baffling with bullshit. I try to keep things simple. Okay? I try to keep things simple. I try to explain it in a way that's understandable. It is very easy to try to baffle people with your bullshit, and it makes you sound smart and it makes you sound clever, and you can get people to believe you that way, but they will never understand what you're saying. Point being, guys, it doesn't matter if it takes 100 shots or 80 shots. As long as you're getting the same amount of chances to score at the end, it's all the same and none of it matters. Okay? So that's the point of that kind of discussion. Regardless, you know, United could end up going in this weekend and being terrible and losing, but I sure hope that doesn't happen. United could go in and smash everybody, and then we can talk about how wonderful we are. Surely it's not chances but goals. Well, yeah, sure. We're talking about chances as a prediction of goals, right? Yeah, chances as a prediction of goals. Yes, and Serini, that is technically correct. And the thing is that as you approach higher numbers, that 1% actually scales further and further down to a point where over the course of the season, taking shots that have 11% on average versus 14% on average becomes like a difference of like 0.03%. It's not even 3%. It's crazy. It all intersects in the end over the course of the season. So unless you're like blowing everyone away, getting an average of like 25% chance for shot. Yeah. Correct, Irish. Exactly. As if you're making a few good chances or a more mediocre chances, it's actually the same at the end of the day. Mathematically, anyway. I wanted to talk about wing backs because we talked about midfielders and all that, and I actually wanted to go back to this tool because the other day someone was asking, like, who would you get at wing back if we could get wing backs? And I think United are going to be looking for wing backs, and obviously we talked about the DeMarco story and things like that. And I wanted to go back to this lens tool and talk about defenders and talk about wing backs because I was searching this the other day and I found it rather interesting. And I was trying to look at, like, who would be a decently good take on playmaking. I was trying to look at wing backs and measure, like, who would be good wing backs for us. And I actually found some really cool some good names and that I thought would be great. And this tool is getting better and better to look at. And this is where I ended up last time too. And I don't know if I can make it bigger. Will you guys be able to see if I make it big there? I might have to make the screen smaller again in a minute for you to see, but I'm going to select his crossing so we can see crossing, progressive passing. I'm going to link the things I really want to see on here. Long passing, carrying, take-ons. This is Anthony Robinson's attacking numbers and percentages. He's really, really good. Okay. This would be like if we went for more of a defensive. If we went for more of like a real left back who has serious attacking quality, then Anthony Robinson would probably be the right guy. It says his crossing is really good according to this measure. I'd have to look at some other things. Some other players that came up like kind of match to me. But then if you go down to here, there was also like this kind of chart of like attacking wing backs, you know? So there's like Lewis Potter. There's like, I'm trying to find like Premier Leagues just as an example, but there's Frimpong, as we know. Ait Nouri, obviously, as one that we can't get now. But it's just interesting to look. But I'd be really interested in Anthony Robinson. He's fast, he's physical, he can get up and down. But is his final ball much better than, say, than Dorgu at the moment? I don't know. I'm not totally positive about that as of yet. But according to this measure, he's really good taking players on, carrying, and crossing as a left back. As a left wing back, yeah, the question might be different. So what I wanted to look at too is what if we, instead of selecting left backs, we selected left mids? We went down to 28 years old. What if we selected guys who are short of showing up as left mids? Do we get anybody useful? Diego Moreira. He's Belgian, 19 years old. Shows some pretty cool ability. I don't know about these players. See, now I'm lost because I don't know who the hell is listed as a left mid. But let's see. I'm going to go over to the data MB as well so we can look at this. And I wanted to do a little bit of searching here and say who could we get? Who would be like a good fullback here? Like what traits should we be looking for in a fullback right now? Like let's look in the Premier League right now. I know that left back and left wing back is a bit different, but like what do we want? Like maybe some expected assists per 90, you know what I mean? Like maybe we want some. They need to be a really good carrier of the ball. So maybe we've got to do like progressive carries per 90, you know, something like that. Who do we get? Munoz for Palace. Hugo Bueno, 23 years old, from Wolves. There's Patrick Dorgu. There's Livramento. This looks like we're in the right bracket, doesn't it? It looks like we're getting kind of the right players, I would suppose. What do you think? Progressive carries. Maybe we do like crosses to box per 90. There's Pedro Porro. There's Ait Nouri. There's a few different ones, you know, that we're going to have to look at here and say, you know, are they the right type of player? Obviously, Reece James. Like these guys would be. Any of these three are good, so maybe we're in the right category. Dorgu's doing pretty well compared to the rest of the league, mind you. So, we go to this one and it looks like shit because Dalo's incapable of hitting it into the box. Cross accuracy. Let's look at like pure crossing ability, right? If we were to look at like pure crossing, let's see. What about chance creation? What if we just do like some more general chance creation? I mean, Dorgu's showing up really high on that one too. Guys, what if Dorgu is good? Guys, what if Dorgu's actually kind of good? Guys, what if Dorgu's actually kind of good? Guys, what if Dorgu's good? What if he could be good? What if he might actually be kind of decent? I think he's kind of good, to be honest. I think Dorgu is good. No, I actually do, genuinely. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here, but I'm kind of saying, like, I actually think Dorgu is pretty good. And I think that the fact of the matter is that potentially, he's just going to keep getting better. Last season, Ahmad was here. So if we look at by last year in terms of chance creation ratio and crossing accuracy, like who was creating a lot of chances, Ahmad was blowing everybody away from the fullback position. Okay. So I still think we need to persist, give Ahmad more run out, keep getting him going there, right? Because I think he's going to be that guy in the end. I think he's going to be really, really good over time as he gets more. We just need to play him into form in that wide area because as we can see by last year, he was insane from that position, right? Pedro Porro, Anthony Robinson, all of that. That's if we're looking at those guys. But I really do think Patrick Dorgu is very good. Does he show up here or is it not because he joined mid-season? It just doesn't have him correctly, right? But no, I genuinely believe that for sure on one side, we need to keep going with Ahmad. Okay, we need to keep going with Ahmad. If we go to like League 1 for a second, who shows up really high? I don't know who this is. Bakker at Lille. He any good? Machado, 31 years old. Guys are a little too old for us. Let's go to like under 25. Bakker, Morera again. He showed up on that other one at Strasbourg, but does that mean he's a Chelsea player? Does that mean he's a Chelsea player? If he's at Strasbourg. We do have wingbacks in the U setup. We have Mentato, we have Camison. They can both make great wingbacks, in my opinion. They both have the opportunity to be really good in those positions. Really puts the funk on League. Yeah, I like the funk on Liga. So, no, but it is interesting to me to look at like what we want. Like Ahmad is that guy on that side, right? So if on the other side we want a fullback and we're gonna persist with a winger on one side, a fullback on the other, then I'm like, maybe Dorgu's fine. Maybe obviously over time we'd expect him to get better and better, but like successful dribbles per 90 versus. Like, I'm just trying to look at like his success and defensive duels one. I'm just curious. This graph is looking. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. It's gonna lock up on me because it's a mini name. I mean, look at Ahmad, man. I mean, look at this guy. Ignore Diogo Dalot because he can't cross the ball, but you know what? Ahmad is still doing really well. What this tells me, because this is this season. You know what Ahmad is doing really well at is he's still excellent in his pressing. So he's winning a ton of duels in his pressing. And he's still a top dribbler. He's just getting the final ball wrong. What I've learned here today, my friends, is that we need to persist with Ahmad on that side 100%, okay? We just have to persist with Ahmad on that side. 100%. Persist with Ahmad on the right side. He's got to be there. There's Ahmad still all the way over here. We got to persist with Ahmad on that right side. And on the left, if we want a fullback, what do we want from them? He's really good at stealing the ball. Progressive carries and let's say like, I don't know. key passes per 90. I'm curious what that'll look like. Look at Dorgu, man. Maybe we don't need anybody. Maybe we just need another young player over there. Maybe we just need to give Dorgu time. Look at his key passes per 90 from fullbacks. Maybe we just need to persist with these two, Ahmad and Dorgu, and they'll get it right in the end. I think they'll just come through in the end. The size is just minutes. We could make it something else like offensive duels. Fouls. Look how many fouls he draws. He's like one of the best. Bias due to system? Yeah, to a degree, Bliff. He is getting in a lot of attacking areas, yeah. No, you're not wrong about that, Bliff, for what it's worth. You are technically correct. He is getting there is a bit of a statistical bias here because of the system. I'm trying to think if there's efficiency stats I can look at. Like offensive duels, 1%. Let's look at some percentages here. There. This one may be a little better. Cross accuracy percentage and offensive duels 1. He's still good. You know what I mean? 2 words, game state. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. He's still good. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still good. He's still good on these things compared to most fullbacks. Like, these are not system biases, right? Because these are percentages. He's damn good for a fullback. Maybe we just need to persist. I don't know. If we were to look at wingers for a moment, what would we want? We would want cross accuracy, maybe like and good ball carrying, right? Like dribble success rate, maybe. Go under 25. I mean, none of these are really good for wingbacks, in my opinion. They're kind of not really the right profile of player. Not really wingers, are they? In Saka, obviously. Like, we could throw Saka back at wingback. He did that before. Here's Semenyo. I mean, his cross accuracy is 25%. His dribble success rate is 48%. If we go back to Dorgu and just look at raw numbers for a minute. Dribble success rate. What did I select? Cross accuracy and dribble success rate? I don't even remember what I did, to be honest. I don't remember what I selected. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It wasn't that. Anyway, his dribble success rate and cross success rate are right now higher than Semenyo's. I feel like it was offensive duels 1%, maybe. I don't remember, to be quite honest. Either way, technic carries, was it? No, it was efficiency stats. It was it was a percentage. Duels 1, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember what the hell I picked. I was trying to look at percentages so that we could vary for the system and just look at like success rate. He's quite good though, you know. I mean, he is quite good. He's in a good spot as a player. Offensive duels 1%, was that the answer? You might be right about that. Duels 1. Where's the offensive duels 1? How am I missing this? Ah, there it is. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So he's at 55 and 50%. Okay, I mean, whatever. He's at 55% offensive duels and 50% cross accuracy. And, you know, I mean, I wish I could put him on the same graph, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. Let me try something else. Yeah, I mean, we're not really asking him to pass from that position because he's carrying the ball forward. So he's good carrying. Defensively, he's not doing a ton. Obviously, we know he could deliver a better final ball, right? Because I think we're comparing him to wingers. And we know that, obviously, like, Semenyo brings more of a goal threat. That's the missing piece of this, right? Is that Dorgu is really not bringing us any kind of goal threat at the moment himself. Like, he's not getting up and attacking. We know Semenyo is going to get up and attack. That's really the difference between the two of them, right? But as far as crossing and assisting goes, I think Dorgu's doing quite well. I think he is. I think he's doing quite well. So, no, Ahmad has been worse than him. I mean, that's fair. But expected assists, I mean, he's creating a lot of chances. He is actually creating quite a number of chances. So, oh man, sometimes I think we just need to chill. I mean, blind you for a second, but he's third in expected assists right now. That's pretty good. I wonder if I can do this, like, I wonder if I could filter this by positions. I think I can. Appearances. I don't think I can, unfortunately. Oh, wait, no, here we go. Defenders. Try that. Out of curiosity. I mean, right here. Get some goal threat, too. Expected assist per 90. Dallow's at the top because he made a lot in that Burnley game, to be fair. I don't know. I haven't decided. I think he is getting better every game. How does he compare to, like, Frimpong, like, last season? It's hard because of the leagues. I mean, Frimpong's been kind of crap this year, hasn't he? I mean, we could look at him this year. I know he hasn't even played enough minutes. Well, look, all right, here. I mean, it's not that bad. As far as wingbacks go, I mean, statistically anyway, he's creating more per game than Frimpong created when he was at Leverkusen last season. Now, his crosses are not necessarily like, I think crossing, you do need to look a little bit with your eyes and see, like, all crosses are not created equal, you know what I'm saying? But, like, I don't know. It's just intriguing. I'm intrigued, my friends. I'm intrigued a little bit. Send it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day with Dorgu, I think he can become a monster. I really do. And we kind of need that. We saw with Ahmad last season what it looks like when he really gets going. We could say we want that on both sides, but I'm not sure. We may need a little bit more of the physicality and pace that Dorgu brings. If we're going to go for like a winger like Semenyo or something like that, it would be good to have that as an option. I don't know. I think Dorgu can be really good. I thought that at the start of the year he was my pick for, like, he's gonna take the big leap this season. I feel it. I feel it's clicking. I feel he's almost there. Like, his final ball just needs work. It was better against Chelsea for sure, but I feel like it's almost there, man. He's getting into, yeah, I agree, Jimmy. Like, he's getting into really good positions. We know his final ball isn't good enough. My concern is, would another player get into those positions? Because he is actually really good at that. I think we need to give him more time to see, because I have a feeling by the end of the season, he could be exceptional. And then maybe we just need young players to come in behind him instead of buying someone expensive or someone like that. I think that's my opinion today to kind of to wrap this up. We need midfielders. We need midfielders. I just keep playing Ahmad and Dorgu out wide until it clicks. And let's see where they are by the end of season. Let's just keep at it. That's my opinion. That's kind of where I stand on this. Let's keep at it. Let's keep at it. Because he's got a lot of tools in his locker. Physically, I think he's really, really good. Let's just keep at it. I think he's going to be good. I think they're going to come through. And he's going to be really good by the end of the season. If we had someone more experienced, I think it would help for sure. Is the manager going to do that? Yes, listen. I think Cunha and Mount being back, Ahmad's not going to play in the middle. He's going to play out wide. We know that. He only moved, to be fair to Amarim on this front, he only moved Ahmad inside when they were injured. Or he had to rotate like in the cup. He didn't move him inside purposefully. You know, I don't think he's going to keep, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out. Maybe Ahmad will be on the bench for a game or something and it'll still be Mazraoui, which I mean, I don't like, but Ahmad a small bit on the bench wouldn't be the worst thing either. But I hope he does persist with Ahmad and Dorgu out wide enough games to get them going. Because then I think they'll be really, really good. Okay, that's it. So midfielder front, we're chasing players here. It looks like we might be signing this young Colombian kid so we can get the conveyor belt going. And then yeah, we need to fix the midfield and we need to fix the goalkeeper. And we have better options within. I'm really curious to see how it goes against Brentford, if we can adjust with the players that we have to reduce the chances that we're giving up. In addition, we are looking at a 6 for January and next summer. And I still think it's going to be Baleba at this point in time. Okay? In the meantime, I'm also of the opinion then we just stick with Dorgu and Ahmad and ride it out and see if we need to buy later. I'm not convinced yet. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me on this Wednesday evening. These long weeks in between games. Good God. 5:30 a.m. will be the Saturday one. So we have 2 more days. 2 more days. 2 more days of suffering through all of this before hopefully we pick up the first back-to-back wins under Amarim's tenure in the Premier League. Climb ourselves up into potentially those European places. Thank you all. I'll see you later. Have a good rest of your evenings. Good night. Goodbye. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that on your way out. Thank you very much. See you later.